It's the NXT Takeover New York predictions as we continue Predictions Mania here on the Squared Circle Psychobabble. Hello and welcome to the Squared Circle Psychobabble. My name is Michael Valenti. This is Ralph Valenti, and we are making our NXT Takeover New York predictions today to continue our Predictions Mania week. We're going to be at NXT Takeover New York. My first takeover being in attendance. Your second. And I believe both were at Barclays, if I'm not mistaken.
They were, yeah. Absolutely amazing atmosphere. I'm looking forward to it. The card is stacked. I'm pumped.
Yes. And of course, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell for notifications as we're trying to hit 5,000 YouTube subscribers before All Elite Wrestling, Double or Nothing. 5 matches on this card. All 5 could steal the night. All 5 could steal the weekend.
Yes.
So let's start it off with the Fatal 4-Way match for the NXT Women's Championship. The champion Shayna Baszler defends against Io Shirai, Bianca Belair, and Kairi Sane. Who you got?
I think that Shayna Baszler is going to retain here.
Okay.
I think eventually she's going to get the push to the main roster, probably be involved with something with Ronda Rousey and the 4 Horsewomen storyline versus 4 Horsewomen if that eventually does end up happening. But I just don't think this is her night to lose the title.
Okay.
I just don't see it. I think they've put a lot of emphasis on making her look like a strong competitor, and I think that she's going to walk away with the title at the end of the night.
Here's where I'm going to disagree with you. I do think Baszler's going to drop. I do think she's going to get called up to the main roster. And bold prediction here, spoiler alert, I think she gets involved in that triple threat match at WrestleMania.
See, it's possible, but I think a main event like this with so much on the line and with all the attention that it's getting, I would hate for somebody to interfere in that.
Okay, if not interfere in the actual match, then she shows up the following night and instantly, and challenges Becky to be like, "Hey, Ronda lost, but I'm really the superior of the 4 Horsewomen."
Yeah,
and challenges her. And I don't know if she would actually end up beating Becky, but all of a sudden she's in the main event picture instantly. So who do I think is going to take the title? Well, Io Shirai and Kairi Sane, they're partners. I think they keep them as tag team partners. Maybe the next challengers to Sasha Banks and Bayley for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. So I think Bianca Belair is going to win the Women's Championship.
Dude. Interesting pick. If I was going to go for, anyone other, that's probably who I would pick. But we know that obviously there's a storyline between her and Shayna Baszler already, so could make things interesting.
Yes. So let's move on to the Tag Team Championship. The War Raiders, Hanson and Rowe, going up against Aleister Black and Ricochet, who won the Dusty Rhodes Classic tournament. We know that they are going to be facing the Tag Team Champions, the Revival, as we're recording this Sunday night. So we don't know the outcome of that Tag Team Championship. So let's assume they're actually going to win the tag team titles, personally, because the Revival haven't done anything with it.
Yeah.
I think they're really pushing the Ricochet, Aleister Black tag team to the point where we're going to put the belts on them. And I think they are filling the void that DIY was supposed to have.
Yep.
So do we see them hold both titles here?
I'm going to say no. So all the things you said about them potentially winning the tag team titles from the Revival, I can certainly see that happening. What I think is ultimately going to happen is I think that the Revival are going to find some way to get themselves disqualified or counted out. And then we're going to get the announcement that that match is actually going to take place at WrestleMania, whether it's on the pre-show or whether it's on the main card. And then we're going to see them win the titles from the Revival. Because of that, I don't see them winning the NXT Championship titles. I think this is probably going to be their last takeover before they're officially called up and become mainstays on the main roster. So I don't see them winning at TakeOver, unfortunately. I mean, these guys have been great in their time with NXT, but I think it's time to really push them and promote them on the main card and the main roster. So I don't see them winning.
Well, WWE loves to make history. And even if it's the biggest reach of history and the most stupidest stats ever, we never had a main roster champion and an NXT champion simultaneously.
He came close with Kevin Owens.
Came close, but him and John Cena never.
Yeah, they never
fought for a title.
Right.
So I think they do try to make history here and have Ricochet and Aleister Black win both titles. Now, you brought up a great point that the Revival could potentially get themselves disqualified or counted out, and then it gets put on WrestleMania.
Yep.
So I could see them winning at WrestleMania and basically win 2 championships in one weekend, which has never happened before.
Right.
So I see it. I think Ricochet and Aleister Black win the NXT Tag Team Championship.
And who would have ever thought? Because it's just such a random tag team.
It is.
Like, just because it's like, okay, well, you guys are both on NXT, so we're just going to pair you guys together.
Right.
Now, of course, like you said, was this all intended to be with DIY? Maybe.
Yeah.
But we'll never know.
Right.
So.
All right, let's move on to the North American Championship. Possibly my favorite wrestler in NXT, the Velveteen Dream, going up against Matt Riddle. I don't know.
This is a tough one.
This is very tough.
Velveteen Dream is back to his snarky self, back to the things that were getting him attention, cutting great promos like we saw last week if you saw NXT. Really interesting segment between him and Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle, to me, is just like, he's a machine. People compare him all the time to Kurt Angle, and I could see it every time I watch this guy wrestle. He's great. He works stiff. He works, a similar style to Kurt Angle. It's also different in the same sense, but this is a tough one. I think I'm going to say that I can't see Matt Riddle losing. This is probably his first high-profile matchup since he's been on the NXT card. And I know Velveteen Dream just won that title, but I feel like Velveteen Dream can afford the loss and rebound. And he typically doesn't win for whatever reason at Takeovers.
Yeah, Takeovers he does not win. I think he has 2 wins. Let's see. He beat Cassius Ohno in that Takeover. And I think his other one... Obviously, to win the North American Championship, he won on an episode of NXT.
It wasn't Takeover.
So I think there's got to be one more, but
I'm sure there is.
But he does not win at Takeover,
right,
despite the great matches that he's had. But here's the other thing: the North American Championship, since it's been in existence last year, there hasn't been any lengthy reigns or great defenses. Like Adam Cole had it from WrestleMania to Survivor Series weekend. And that's it. Johnny Gargano dropped it on NXT. And if Velveteen Dream were to drop it, I think it kind of loses the credibility of that title and loses the prestige already. Like, you're trying to build that title.
I get that, and I understand it. I think the thing that NXT has going for it, where people are willing to overlook the hot potato of passing a championship, is because the matches always deliver. I think as long as you're putting on good matches, people are willing to, look past, okay, well, this guy had it one week and now it's here and back and forth. Yes, I agree. I think that lengthier title reigns are better overall because it creates more prestige. I mean, look at Pete Dunne, which we're going to talk about. But I don't know. Something just tells me I can't see Matt Riddle's first really high-profile match, him losing to Velveteen Dream, especially when, yes, Matt Riddle is more of like the laid-back kind of guy, but he's also kind of pushed as this, almost like badass. So I can't see his character losing to a character like Velveteen Dream.
Well, here's the question. Who can afford the loss more? Velveteen or Matt Riddle? To me, Matt Riddle can afford it more than Velveteen Dream.
I disagree. I think they're going to try to build Matt. So if you assume that Ricochet is going to be brought up to the main card,
yes,
Aleister Black's going to be brought up to the main card,
right?
There's rumors Johnny Gargano is going to the main card. Ciampa's out for a year. You're going to need that next big guy to carry the torch or be the big guy on the NXT scene. And I know that can obviously be Velveteen Dream, but I think that their guy is going to be Matt Riddle. I think he's going to be the guy that gets the push as the more of the legitimate badass type guy.
Right. So if he wins the North American title, he's stuck in the mid card where they need main event guys if they're all going up to the main roster. if Johnny Gargano goes to 205 Live, or that's the rumor, or somewhere on the main roster,
Right.
Adam Cole has to face somebody. Matt Riddle is the most legitimate contender right now.
It's also probably the most logical.
Or the most logical.
But how do you put somebody in the title picture if you lose to Velveteen Dream and then I don't know. I see where you're coming from, but
you could rebuild Matt Riddle quick enough to have him face Adam Cole. And Velveteen Dream, he needs the win. He needs the win at TakeOver.
I don't think so.
He never wins.
I know, but I feel like, granted, his win-loss record at takeovers might be lopsided to the latter of the two. But I feel like people are willing to overlook that again because of the performances he puts on.
Yes.
You never remember him winning or losing. You never hear people talking about, oh, well, he loses so much. It's usually, well, he always has the best match or he has a great match.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I think Dream wins. I'm going with Dream.
well, we'll find out Friday.
Yes, we
The
will.
loser could buy the other one a beer.
Well, I don't drink, so it'll
He's
be
the boring one.
H2O for me. All right, let's move on to the United Kingdom Championship. Pete Dunne versus Walter.
Yep.
To me, Pete Dunne had a great reign with this title, and Walter being instantly put into the championship picture as soon as he came onto the scene. I don't see why they would not put the belt on Walter.
I agree. Pete Dunne, amazing run. He's held the belt for over 600 days. I know that. But yeah, I mean, just like you said, I can't see them pushing a guy to this level or to this point already in his short time with the company if it wasn't for a reason. So I think that Walter inevitably is going to win this one for sure.
Could you possibly see some kind of no contest to protect both of them?
In order for that to happen, I think it would have to main event and have something where they go like we talked about in our other video with Matt Taven and Jay Lethal, where they went the full 60 minutes and nobody won. But seeing that this is not going to close out the night, I wouldn't think it would be. I don't see that happening.
Well, I mean, if it doesn't main event, I could see it actually doing that because most people do not want something like that to end the show. They want a clear winner ending the night.
Yeah.
So I could actually see some kind of double count out, double disqualification, something where there's a no contest. But if I have to pick somebody, I'm picking Walter because like the push is just too strong.
Yeah.
For him to get go. And then the other question is too with Pete Dunne, if he loses, what's next for Pete Dunne?
Exactly. And that's the thing that we were talking about the other day. So yeah, I got to agree. I mean, if Pete Dunne is, pushed as the bruiserweight, he's established as like this badass. If you lose to a guy like Walter, it's like, now you're stuck in the back seat to this other guy who they're going to now push as a badass. So, what do they do with him?
Does he go to 205 Live?
He could be brought on SmackDown or he could be brought on Raw.
I don't see him really making a move because with NXT UK,
yeah, he's
so popular in the British wrestling scene that I don't think he would really succeed too well on the main roster. Obviously, because one, cruiserweights typically don't succeed on the main roster. Mm-hmm. Yes, there's Rey Mysterio. Yes, there's Finn Balor, but they're very rare.
Yeah.
So I think he would get stuck maybe 205 Live. He needs to stay in NXT UK, but if he drops the title, it's like basically all they have is Walter versus Pete Dunne, and you're going to get that same match over and over and over again in big high-profile situations. This one is probably the toughest match to predict the entire weekend. But I'm sticking with Walter.
Yeah, I'm going with Walter as well.
All right, main event, 2 out of 3 falls for the NXT Championship. Johnny Gargano against Adam Cole, 2 of the most popular wrestlers in NXT right now.
Yeah.
We all wish it was Tommaso Ciampa here, but he just couldn't hold on for just 3 more weeks.
Yeah, unfortunately, his neck was in really rough shape. He had to have the emergency surgery, so We don't get the long-awaited payoff of what everyone expected was Gargano taking the belt off of Ciampa, but at the end of the day, I'm still satisfied with this as the main event.
Yes. So, even though Cole is in this spot and not Ciampa, does that mean that Gargano is still going to walk out as the NXT champion?
I don't think so. I think that this is going to be one of those situations where Johnny Gargano is one of those guys that it's always his goal to become the champion, and for whatever reason, that goal has just always eluded him. They did something similar way back in the day with Tommy Dreamer, where Tommy Dreamer was never expected to win the ECW championship, and eventually he did win it. He had one title reign, but he even said it. If you watch some interviews with him, he says, I never wanted to win it. I always wanted to be that guy that came so close, but you never got to that point. Johnny Gargano is, to me, he's like the ultimate underdog, the guy that nobody really expects to win, but just because of the way he carries himself and everything else, he's always presented as the underdog. And I think once you win the title, you can't necessarily go backwards. You can't. Yes, I mean,
Daniel Bryan effect, kind of.
Yeah, because once you achieve that goal, it's like we were talking about, like, where do you go from here? And also, I do think that he is going to get called up, whether it's 205 Live or the main roster on Raw or SmackDown. Adam Cole, he's been doing amazing things. I think he can still accomplish quite a bit. He's arguably one of the most over guys in all of NXT, so why not give him a chance to run with the belt? So I see Adam Cole winning it.
I also see Adam Cole winning, and also to further the story that they're trying to tell in NXT of the Undisputed Era taking all the titles.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, he would have the NXT Championship. If whoever wins the NXT Tag Team Championships, like I said, would be Aleister Black and Ricochet, it's quicker to take the titles off of those two to put them on Bobby Fish and O'Reilly. And then Roderick Strong, or whoever they decide is not part of the tag team, can win the North American Championship off of Velveteen Dream. And there's the rumor going around that Marina Shafir could be joining the Undisputed Era, and then she wins the NXT Women's Championship off of my prediction of Bianca Belair.
And this all stems from what? When Adam Cole said that they would be draped in gold?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So that whole thing, and, you know, if Shayna Baszler goes up to the main roster, we know Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir aren't quite ready to go up yet.
Right.
So you can also make them a tag team, face Sasha and Bayley, further the 4 Horsewomen versus 4 Horsewomen storyline. Let Marina go with Roderick Strong, her real-life husband, and join the Undisputed Era. So it just makes the most logic sense, which we all know WWE loves logic. So I say Adam Cole wins the NXT Championship, and they further the storyline of NXT Gold for everyone in the Undisputed Era.
What do you think the crowd is going to be like? Who are they going to cheer for? It's going to be interesting. It might be.
This is going to be NXT's version of the Ultimate Challenge.
Split down the middle?
Split down the middle. You are going to get, Let's Go Johnny, Adam Cole. Something like that, because there's going to be people there that have been invested in this Johnny Gargano storyline for 2 years, and they just want to see him win that title. But then everybody just yells, Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah.
So
2 of the most over guys, probably the most over guys right now on the NXT roster.
Of course. So I think this one's much easier to predict than Pete Dunne and Walter, but this one could also be hard.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of what are the plans at NXT and what are the plans in WWE for these 2 guys. I think they have more of a plan for Johnny Gargano, knowing that he's already been on the main roster, than Adam Cole, who they're planning a long-term thing with the Undisputed Era.
Yep.
And they could really shock the system by having them all win the titles. So that's what I'm going with.
Yep. I'm with you there. I say Adam Cole.
Are you wearing your Adam Cole t-shirt at TakeOver?
I will more than likely be wearing the Adam Cole t-shirt.
Very nice. So let us know what your predictions are in the comments. Like this video, share it all over social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at SCPV Podcast. And before we go, we just want to make a nice shout out to Jack Martin, one of our subscribers here. Just loves our videos, and just want to give him a shout out too. So again, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications as we're trying to hit 5,000 YouTube subscribers before All Elite Wrestling, Double or Nothing. For Ralph Valenti, my name is Michael Valenti, and thank you for watching the Squared Circle Psychobabble.